Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about career strategies and my career strategy. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, what is your long-term career strategy? Well, I suppose that the closest thing to a career strategy that I have is to gain enough seniority to feel as if there's really nothing I can do within software development. Let me unpack that a little bit. So, I have a personal ambition, which is more an idealistic one than it is something that is smart for career purposes. But at the same time, I think that it flows really nicely into a long-term strategy. You can think of it as it's like I almost discovered what my most likely long-term career strategy is going to be by pure accident, just based on luck. Because I didn't really think about this stuff when I first started programming. I was just really excited about coding. So the idea that I have is that I want to achieve to become the thing that I call the universal programmer. Now this is an idealistic person. This person doesn't exist as far as I know, but I'm going to give it my best and try to become that person. And for me, that person is the programmer, like the true full stack developer. It is the programmer who knows it all. You don't have to be like, I'm not saying that you're a master. Nobody's going to spend their life doing everything and then be equally good to someone who's focused on one thing for their entire life. Most likely, it can happen. I'm not saying that, but the idea is to have the width, because I really do love practically everything within coding. I think it's super fascinating, the stuff that we can do with computers and solving problems and so forth. And even outside of computers, one of my biggest areas of interest these days is to have a look at electrical engineering and things of this nature, to see how can I bring all this coding knowledge that I have out into the real world, and maybe go into automation or like look at that stuff. I think that's awesome. It would be so cool to be able to automate processes, like physical processes, manufacturing or whatever, and use coding to do so. So find a bit of a combination there. And I mean, the same thing goes for my interest in game development. I'm never going to be a game developer. I love playing computer games, but I found that I'm not as interested in making them. But I still want to know how it works, and I already have. I have made a few small computer games. Nothing fancy, nothing worth talking about, but it feels good to be able to kind of understand how it works. And so, as that as the sort of person that I am, the first thing I will consider is, all right, I have this passion that is very wide. How can I structure a learning process that kind of captures that desire? Because as I've said before, usually the thing that you're gonna go and get really good at is the stuff that you do every day. Now I'm never gonna spend full time making computer games, most likely, but I can do that at a hobby level. But in my work, I need to make sure that the things that are in my sphere of relevancy, well, that I get exposed to all of that. And so far, I've built up a career path where I've gone from knowing like each section of the stack, like each both the front end and the back end. And so when I was starting out my career, I was looking for full stack work, and I was very interested in making sure that I really understood both the back end and the front end. And now, after a few years of working, I feel like I have arrived at the point where, and I actually did that at my current job. I realized that I had arrived at the point where my skills within application development is at a level where I can hold my own in both the front end conversations and in the back end conversations. I don't really look at myself as having one that is stronger than the other, but I know I know what I'm doing most of the time. I hope. And so now I realize that, all right, the new challenges that I'm facing are more social aspects, like more management type of things, and that's where I've been putting a lot of my energy into in my current role at my current job, trying to figure out what's going to work in terms of team composition, what's going to work in planning out work, what is going to work in like system structure, like what architecture should we go for, why should we go for this one, because the thing about architecture that nobody tells you is that your architecture is going to suck every single time if you don't understand how business work. Without you understanding the company, your architecture is pointless most of the time. And I promise you, the answer is not microservices to every question. So that's where I'm spending my time now, and I'm moving more and more towards operations level type of work, where DevOps and so forth. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it is the last segment, or it's the last part of a very well-rounded profile for me, where I will have the skills to practically build the company myself if I wanted to. Now, I mean, I could still, of course, do that if I wanted to, uh, by even today. But as I said, I want to get quality education, not because I have to. I could, if I wanted to become a freelancer, I could probably do that. And my ambition is not to become a freelancer. I just want to have the skills that are required to do all of this stuff, so that in the future, if I find myself, well, wanting to go out on my own or do something, I just take to create my own company, or maybe teach, or like do whatever it might be, right? I have the skills to do all of this stuff, practically work, and to practically work on every project. That's the whole idea of this, being the universal programmer in the fullest sense. And I suppose that brings me to, like, well, for me at least, what's upcoming is to go much deeper into to operations work. And I think I still have which is that makes me very happy. At my current job, I still have the opportunity to actually move in towards more DevOps focused roles than I am today. I'm already doing a lot of the stuff that is related to this, but there's a difference between you being you kind of organically being forced to deal with operations matters, and it being your full-time focus, it being your responsibility. You learn a lot more from actually being allocated work than you do from just doing it through convenience and things like that. And after that, I would suspect my in terms of career development for benefiting my career, it's going to be mostly about security measures and compliancy, things like that. Learning, getting into that sort of space and learning how to work with security and compliance in larger systems, which is also something that is very beneficial to know about if your intention is to basically be able to build anything in web. And then I have like personal interest in machine learning and things of that nature. It's like, I mean, I have so many years of learning to do, and I am so excited about it. And the best part about it is that I really do feel that the only thing that is like, I mean, I want to learn this as well. I'm not as interested in it though, and that would be the soft things around running your own business. That would be something that might be relevant to me if I feel at some point that, you know what, no, I actually want to be my own boss. So I want to do this thing in a more serious fashion, and then it becomes learning that thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to that point, because I want to focus more on the things that I am interested in, and I'm not all that interested in managing a business. But never say never, it might happen. So what I want you to take away from this is that, at least for me, my long-term career goal kind of flows into an organic need, or like a inherent need that I have for programming, and that need is that I want to understand all the things. I want to be able to do all the things and so forth. Now, I'm never going to be a master of everything, so I try to make sure that the things that I do in my spare time are things that I indulge as a hobby type of thing, and the things that will benefit my career are the things that I try to position myself in my work as much as possible. I will always make sure that if I know something fairly well, that I don't get complacent and I stay there just because it feels safe. I want to always expand my understanding of more and more relevant areas. It's like a black hole that just expands. The more it expands, the more stuff I suck in, and that's exactly how I try to structure everything. So for me, the next step is that, well, I feel very comfortable in application development and building things like that, and even some stuff when it comes to operations. But I want to expand my understanding of operations and DevOps and so forth more than I already have. Same thing with management type of work. and then it's probably going to be more about security related issues and things like compliance and so forth. And the end goal is pretty much just to get to a point where, well, kind of like managing an orchestra. I want to be the composer, or like that's the guy with the stick. I want to know all these instruments so well that I know how I can how they all work, so that if I need to take the lead, I can take the lead. Do I need to start a company? Yeah, I can start a company. Or do I need to become like a team lead? Well, I can be a team lead. Or do you just need some dude to just sit and mash out code? Well, I can do that as well. Have a great day.